What's up, everybody? This is the Real Deal, episode number 2. We're going to be talking about our 2020 year in review with hunting and everything. See maybe some personal stuff, whatever it gets into. But so let's jump right into it. So guys, 2020, it's been a roller coaster. What happened? I know my season this was like shot in the foot. So anybody want to go first, talk about what happened this year for them, see if they have anything better than me?
Yeah, sure. I don't care. So I went into this season with high expectations. I had a new hunting lease. I had big bucks on trail camera. Everything was looking good. Bow season come around. Bucks started going nocturnal. Only saw them at night. Hopes started to die a little bit. Like bow hunted pretty hard. A bunch of the other guys on the lease did too. And the crammers pretty much went dead. No activity at all. Once in a while, we'd see some doe, but no buck. And that's just kind of how it went. All of archery. We did whack one small 8-point towards the end of archery. And then, yeah, rifle season was pretty much no luck. Yeah, not much happened. We got one doe and another goofy small buck off. But, yeah, I missed one doe, passed up a couple fawns, but that's all I've seen so far. So the bucks are still running. Maybe I'll hit them late archery. I'm hoping to get out, but not sure. January is a busy month with work, but yeah, hopefully I can get some time out. And yeah, hopefully go out with you, Christian, and see if we can whack some does yet.
Yeah, I'm game for it, man. So I know Cody and Elias, you guys are here in PA, and we had temperatures just kind of roller coasters throughout the year. Got real cold right off the gun at the beginning of October. And then it got real warm. I think we were back up almost to the 80s in October, late October, which, I mean, I had bucks coming in beginning of season that they weren't my ones I was going after, but they were coming in on estrus or grunts or anything. And I was surprised because it seemed like the rut was going to be kicking off real quick and real hot. And then all of a sudden with the temp spiking, it seemed like everything went on pause for a while until probably rifle season, I'd say, till it started getting cold again, which is December. But what about you, Matt? How was it out in Oklahoma?
I hunted out in, northwestern Oklahoma, out in Watauga, which is probably an hour and a half outside of Oklahoma City Metro Center. And the rut seemed to come in real fast and then taper off mid-November and then pick back up. I was on a new lease, was excited about it, had feeders out, didn't have any cameras out, but just red sign. And the tract of land I was at was 160 acres. It was a creek bottom, surrounded by two giant, pretty large wheat fields. And the deer would use the creek bottom pretty regularly to come through there, but I had no buck signs at all, except when I would see them on the outskirts. But temperature definitely played a role, I think, across the country in buck activity, especially here in Oklahoma.
How hot did it get?
I think one sit, I was sitting there in the morning, it was in the 40s. It got up to about 75. One weekend, it got into the 80s. And then I think in bow season opens October 1st here. Middle of October, it got close to 90.
What's normal down there?
Normal temps will be high 70s. Well, low in the morning will be in the 50s, and then it'll taper off. But weather definitely played a big factor in our season here in Oklahoma, especially out in the west, where it's typically a lot cooler than it is here in central Oklahoma where I live. But they plan a winter wheat in the middle of October. Weather had a big part in it not sprouting up like it needed to. So the deer weren't hitting that like they should. But I expected a lot more out of the lease that I was on, but turned out to be kind of a bust because they weren't hitting the feeder like they should. I only saw 2 bucks this year, and they were both, what I would consider non-shooters because they were probably 2 years old. They didn't have any mass or really any antler growth at all.
Right.
Another guy that I was on a lease with, he shot probably maybe a 130-inch, 8 to 9 point. It might have been a 3.5, 4-year-old deer, but they're just kind of, really hit or miss out in that area.
Right.
Whether you get a big one or not.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cody, so what's going on up there?
Man, it's been rough. I ran cameras all summer, early fall, beginning of archery season. I think at one point I counted 12 different bucks on camera, and started out archery hunting pretty hard. It got cold there at first. I was really excited, and then it warmed up. Everything went nocturnal, like they tend to do sometimes, and then rifle season came around, and it started to get cold. And I know here in the second week, rifle season, it was back up in the 40s and 50s. And I think between archery and rifles, all 2 bucks, and all the hours I sat and waited, and my group, we were able to, I was able to harvest a doe. My sister did shoot a buck, got an older buck. He was a 3-pointer, but he was busted up pretty good. And then Dad was able to get a doe. And then Christian and his dad came up, and Christian actually got a doe.
Yep.
Up here, and then his dad got a little sick. So
that thing was weird, man.
That was weird.
I'll have to put a video or picture at the end of this. Do you still have those pictures?
I do.
All right, you'll have to send them to me. I'll have to put the pictures in here then. It's weird, man. And you said you had that buck on camera too?
Yep.
That's cool. That's awesome. So, yeah, like Cody said, I was able to get up there last weekend to rifle, and it was back up 40s, 50s, and it's December 11th and 12th. We're talking northern part of Pennsylvania, right near the New York border, so it's good to be warm up there. I mean, it's weird. So my season, it was having some really good hopes. I was up on some public land up here, and we had I had this buck I called Screwball. I'm pretty sure I shared some pictures of him. I'll have to put some pictures of him in here as well. But his one side grew real nice, and he was real big on his one side, on his right side. I believe it was his right side. And then his left side, all he had is a brow, and the rest of the antler grew down and around his face. And I called him Screwball for that reason. It was like a face guard. What is velvet, man? That thing was real big. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys heard that. My phone just went off. But I had him like clockwork during daytime hours. And my first opportunity was going to be right around opening day. He was always cruising right in that area. He had 3 days he'd come through there. It was the day before, during, and day after the full moon. And I was set up there long before daylight. Perfect. I seen one doe, a coyote, and a fisher all day. Opening day. I was a little upset. So when I got down, I pulled the card out of the camera it's near. And once you know it, he came by probably, I think it was an hour before I got in the stand. And I was in the stand by, it was 5, I think I was in the stand by. I mean, I had a good hour before daylight. And it's like, oh, I got plenty of time. And then, man, it just kind of snowballed from there. My buddy, he's like, man, you should try hunting from the ground. So I decided to try that. And I got one doe on the ground with a bow. That was fun. I think I'm going to do more of that. I say I'm going to be doing more of that upcoming, especially on public land. But got a doe down on from the ground. That was fun. And yeah. And in the process of trying to get a deer on the ground, I had a little buck. He may have been legal here in PA, but his off his main beam, you could see the one side was just solid spike. The other side just had little bumps, like he was trying to grow, but he never got there. I mean, in PA needs to be an inch off the tine, off the main beam, and he wouldn't have been. I don't think he would have been legal, but I had him come in at probably 5 to less than 10, a little more than 5 yards, and he came out in this little clearing where I'm gonna take a fly at, and circled right in front of me. He stepped inside the woods and was trying to get the camera going, and he just stopped short. And he seen me move when I tried getting the camera on, and he said goodbye. But then I found out the tree stand that I hung back in that area. I can't believe I missed this. Had poison oak growing up the side, so I got covered in that. And man, I'll tell you what, that sucks. Because I hung the stand, and then I ended up hunting it shortly after. Started on my arms and just spread everywhere. You know, hanging stands, putting straps around trees, you're bear hugging that thing, no matter if you're wearing a harness or not. But I'm still after it. When this is recorded, this is December or January 4th. I'm still trying to fill my buck tag, my bow, late season here in PA. And since I'm quarantined, I got free time now. So, but I would manage to get up with Cody last day of rifle, and that was a lot of fun. We normally go up to that area, and my family's known Cody's family for quite some time now, and we just started hunting together and went up there for my dad's birthday, normally every year around that time. And they told me where they wanted me to go, and so I ended up meeting up Cody and his dad, and we were gonna put on a little deer drive, and I ended up going on the other side of this clear cut or gas line, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right on the other side of the gas line and cutting down on a block of woods. And I was moving through these pines, and I seen a little cedar tree look like it was snapping. Like I thought there was a buck rubbing it on the other side. I just got down below him or whatever. And so I stopped. I got my grunt call out, and I grunted. And it stopped. I was like, oh, that definitely buck. And there was no wind where I was at. So I was like, okay. So I did it again, and nothing. And all of a sudden I see this doe standing there, and I'm like, well, there's a doe there. I could hope that's a buck. So I pulled up the doe. It was probably maybe 80 yards through the woods, but I shot her, and she dropped and went up to her, and I got curious, and I was like, because that tree was still snapping. I was like, well, if it's a buck, it must be the world's stupidest buck for being there after I just shot all 6 off, you know. But we got her. I went over there, and it was on the downhill side of this little, I guess it'd be off a point. It was catching a wind from the other side, and I was down below it, so I never even seen it. But that was fun. I did have a lot of fun up there, and I look forward to hunting with Cody again soon. And Elias, we're going to try and get you on some deer. But all right, guys. Well, I think that'll do it for this one, guys. So thanks for joining me, and have a good one, guys.
Take it easy.
Thanks for watching the second episode of The Real Deal.